Hey, it's Stan Nichols. Be sure to check out Blue Collar Boys.
Hey everyone, Matt Gates here with my man Tommy Nichols. Check out Blue Collar Voice.
Toodles.
Hey, I'm Dave Peach, County Commissioner, District 4. Want you to check out the Blue Collar Voice and Tommy Nichols.
What's going on, guys? Tommy Nichols, Blue Collar Voice, Santa Rosa County, here with Mr. Pete Peters. He is
Here
getting
we go with the
ready.
Mister again.
What's that?
Here we go with the Mister
Hey,
again.
I was raised to, be respectful, so
Don't say elders.
I gotta be. But anyway, Pete, he was victorious on election night, but because you didn't read, what was it, 50%?
Right. 50 plus 1.
50 plus 1. He's got a runoff in November. So we're going to be meeting with Pete today. We're going to be talking to him, getting to hear a little bit about what his plans are, how he plans on being in victory lane come November. So how was things going on election night for you? How were you feeling? How was things leading up to it?
Totally relaxed. Was just waiting to see what comes up. It's up to these people out there to determine who the winner is. I was disappointed that only 26% of the population voted, but so be it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But one thing that I don't think we have to worry about is the November election, being a lot of midterm election and everything. You're going to have a better turnout come November, but it really stinks that this could have been solved beforehand, but people wait and wait and wait. What really gets under my skin is you'll see all over social media, everywhere you look, all over town for that matter, you'll see people whining, griping, and complaining about this, that, or the other. But when it comes time to do something about it, where are you? Why don't you show up and vote? I'm sure you running for office, that really gets under your skin.
It does, and I think we mentioned it the last time, the number of people I talked to out there, and they said, we've been here, one person, I've been here 70 years, and I've yet to vote. I'm like,
oh, wow.
Quit complaining then. And that's all he did, complain. I said, you're the problem.
Exactly. Like I said, you sit there and talk about, well, I want this person to win, I like this person's idea. Well, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to get out and are you going to vote and actually try to solve the problem? And it really just gets under my skin. And then the following day after the election, you look on social media, you look all over the place, go around town, people are complaining, whining, boo-hooing, crying about their candidate didn't win, or the one that they wanted didn't win. Why not? Well, I wasn't able to vote, or I didn't vote. Well, why are you even talking about it? It's on you right there, But that's
We're a constitutional representative republic. That means it's up to you guys out there to take charge, take the bull by the horns, get the people you want in there. Otherwise, we're in trouble.
Yeah,
we are in big trouble.
26%
That's
of
sad.
our population decided how things are going to go for 100% of us. Think about that. 26% of everybody in Santa Rosa County and Northwest Florida decided what's best for everybody. That's ridiculous.
I'm going to say something, and it's probably going to tick some people off, but the true definition of communism is the few control the many.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. But the good thing is for Pete and a few others, they have another opportunity come November. Are we going to be in the same boat that we were in August come November? Or are more folks going to show up and have their voices heard? Guys, if you do not show up, if you do not vote, it takes 5-10 minutes to go in there and vote?
Not even that. Polls were empty.
I mean, really, early voting, whatever. It takes no time at all. If you do not do that, I do not want to hear you complaining all over social media about this candidate won and you wanted this candidate to win. No, stop it. It's getting ridiculous. We've dealt with this time after time after time. And like I said, 26% of the population deciding for 100% of the citizens. That's pathetic. But anyway, what was your best experience running up until this election right here so far?
I guess meeting a lot of the people that talked me into running, which is a lot of my parents from my cadets, and now a lot of my cadets that have kids in the school system.
Right.
They're worried about their kids, they're worried about the future, and they said we're not being listened to.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope some of the women that were with me, I waited on the outside of the last school board meeting. And that's a place to be because you get to watch the faces of people.
Right.
And a lot of the parents came out crying. And the one guy, he remembered me, he goes, "Oh, you're the Marine running." I said, "Yep."
Right.
He goes, "You saw what happened in there? They pretty much threw me out." And they wouldn't answer his question. And he brought up some valid question. He says, hope he listens to this. He goes, "You guys determined the bus routes. You didn't even know what the bus routes were. You had voted on them before you found out what the routes were."
Yeah.
And that's why on the last debate, one of them, I said, "Where's Nancy Pelosi during all this? We got to vote on it to find out what's in it."
Right.
I mean, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
That is not the way to run a school system.
No, absolutely not. But sadly, that seems to be in the position we're in right there.
Yep.
And that is the hot button issue right there. And it's going to sway a lot of voters this way or that way, is the whole bus routes. And I rode around town watching these bus routes. And thankfully, I got to give a shout out to some folks real quick. Sorry, Pete. That have came together, parents, guardians, who are walking these kids to these bus routes that are ridiculously way too dadgum long. These kids should not have to walk to make sure that they make it there safely. To those parents right there, bravo. We need more like you. And guys, if you in your community right there, you need to do what those parents are doing. Matter of fact, it was the one of the guys running for mayor of Milton. I'm sorry, I forget his name. Don't
So
hate
did I.
me.
He's gonna jump both of us.
Yeah, he came up with a great idea to do that right there, and that is absolutely correct. And it sucks that we have to do that. It really does. It shouldn't have to be that way. I remember when I was a kid, I walked out, walked outside the door and walked out to the end of the driveway, and I knew I was going to be picked up by the bus. Now you got to walk a mile down the dadgum road.
Well, here's what's ridiculous when I found out also. As soon as I found out about this, I started checking all the state mandates and all the state rules. Those are not stringent requirements. What they are is, it's almost like the Constitution. It prohibits the school district from making kids walk too far to a bus stop. It provides safety standards. They are not, I don't want to put the minimums, but they are not the mandates that, oh, well, you're within that distance.
Right.
Therefore, we do not have to provide transportation. Yes, there's a money issue. The state does not pay for that. But at the same time, if you read the fine print, it says roads and should be taken into account. So say you got a person that lives within a mile or a mile and a half, depending on your age.
Right.
But if that kid's got to walk a longer distance, that has to be taken into account. That's right in the state regulations.
Right.
So the other one is major intersections. It says right there, do not, you don't want the kids crossing major intersections. You do not want kids picked up undivided highways, which is 98.
90.
90. Well, I was up at Spencerfield Road with some of the parents showing me where they have to. Well, this is crazy here. Now
It's
you're
like
going to
highway.
laugh. I missed because I was going slower than normal traffic. I was doing 60 something.
Right.
And we go by, and my wife goes, "Hey, there's." I go, "No, that's not it." And all of a sudden, we had to pull a U-turn over at the volunteer fire department. But you know, you go to these roads that say 45. You're doing 45, you're gonna get rear-ended.
Yep.
Even the 55, you got people doing 70. So you want kids on the side of the road here? Somebody loses control, you're gonna wipe out a bunch of kids.
Yep. And that's like you're talking about right here in front of Dad's office, right here in Benchmark Surveying. It is 45 miles per hour.
Whoops.
I can guarantee
I didn't say I was doing 60.
No, you're good. But I can guarantee you, maybe one out of every 10 cars to go by here are doing 45 miles an hour or 50. The rest of them are doing 70 and above. It is absolutely crazy. I had a buddy, he's a state trooper. Ronnie Coon, great guy. Grew up with him, playing football and everything. He came out here and sat and wrote ticket after ticket because of people flying through this 45 miles an hour zone. And what's scary about that is Lead Academy is right over there. You have a major business right here, and a house right here, and a soccer complex right there, and a curve right there, and a fire department right there. And people just fly through here. It's
I'm glad you told me
nuts.
it's 45 because I had it set at 49, and I was leading the parade, so I goosed it up to about 57, and I was still being shoved forward by a mass of cars behind.
It is crazy.
I thought it was 55.
Yeah, and it. Don't get me wrong. It used to be years ago. It was 55 all through here. But when Lead Academy and Mom made a big push, bless her heart, because my nephew and everything would go out there and made a push for it to change speeds, and it was accepted. It got down to 45, but people don't acknowledge that one bit.
Well, here's the other thing that's interesting. There's only 2 districts in Florida that do not own their buses and have a contract transportation. Santa Rosa is one of them. So again, looking at the fine print, if it's a contract, those so-called rules do not apply as far as the district's concerned. They can alter that. Now they can't surpass. You can't make the kids walk further than that.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they say, well, the district, and that's when the parents were coming out in tears going, don't blame us, blame the state. The state made the rules, we're following the state rules. Well, that's what got me to go look for the state rules because I don't trust people.
Right.
So I looked at the state rules and I'm going, this is interesting. You people look it up, like I told you guys the last time. Prove me a liar, please.
Yes, absolutely. And I know a lot of the bus drivers. I've got to work right alongside with them. A lot of great ones. And they've done it for years. And our bus drivers we have are absolutely awesome. They are great folks. And a lot of those are upset that they can't do things the way that they need to be done. They have to do things the way they're told to do things.
Like what?
Like, for example, they would like to pick up kids the way they should be picked up, in front of their house, like I was picked up as a child. But now they have to do them. They get their routes printed out for them and said, here's your route right here. Boom. You have to pick it up by that right there. And all of them are GPS monitored, and they have to do what they're told. And it really stinks, but...
Well, parents, you control
not our
that.
Drivers.
You control that. You guys were in there. What we need to do is get. Unfortunately, Elizabeth didn't get in, but
Right.
I will be your voice. Like I said, we're a representative republic.
Yep.
You guys control that. It's your money. When I was up at Berry Hill, and I was just telling Tommy, I say 3 out of the 5 couples I spoke with were homeschooling, and one of the last straws that broke the camel's back was the bus schedule. And these ladies are going, we can't drive right. We got 2 miles to drive them to the bus stop. I go, wait a minute. He goes, well, because our driveway.
Yeah.
So I went, all right. And then some of the other women came up there, and a couple of the deputy sheriffs, they go, a lot of people in this area do not have cars.
Right.
So what are they going to do? And I
Of
know the
course.
school says about your responsibility, tough. But come on, it's got to be a compromise. After all, you guys are paying for the school system.
Yep.
All right? That's your money.
And one of the biggest things that we can do, anybody that is looking for a job, whether it be part-time, full-time, whatever, we need bus drivers. Bad.
And teachers.
Severely, yes, and teachers. Bad. But for those regular Joes out there that don't have the teaching degrees and you want to help, we need bus drivers. And they are begging for bus drivers. They are giving bonuses. They're giving sign-on bonuses, all kinds of stuff because they're that short. Ride by the Pace bus barn over there, and all those buses that you see sitting out there in the morning time that are not gone, those are not spare buses. Those are buses that are supposed to be out on the road picking your kids up, but they don't have the drivers to do them, guys.
And it's a lot of fun, especially if you drive the little kids around. When I got my bus driver's license, I had to drive for an elementary school. And at first the kids were crying when I was in there because they thought they were losing their bus driver. So I had to drive, I forgot how many hours. And I went to all the recruiters and got all these gifts for the kids. So when I was giving the gifts away and I told them, I said, well, I have to leave now, I won't be driving. They were all crying. So I told them, no, you guys got to understand, I'm the map maker to the Tooth Fairy. So now that I know your routes, I have to go to another route and get the maps for the Tooth Fairy for those kids. So that settled it down, and the parents are going, why are they crying? Because I was giving them gifts and they're walking up, we're losing the map maker to the Tooth Fairy. My daughters go, Dad. Yeah, that was fun. It was worthwhile.
And going back to the whole bus driver thing, I know a lot of bus drivers. They are absolutely the best of the best, guys. We have some of the best teachers in Northwest Florida, but we also have some of the absolute best bus drivers. I know them personally. I've got to work alongside them and see what they have to deal with. It takes a very, very special person to drive a bus, especially those that drive I don't want to call them bad kids, troubled kids, or whatever you want to call them. I got to drive on those buses right there, and a lot of the bus drivers would say, "Oh, these kids are, they got all these problems, whatever." But what I learned was the bus driver was able to, if they were able to talk to them, communication. They was able to keep these kids nice and calm and have no issues with them all the way to school. Mm-hmm. And
you set the policy in that bus, just like in the classroom. And
absolutely,
teaching's another field. It's a calling.
Absolutely.
I'll be honest with you.
You're right.
You cannot pay a teacher enough. No matter how you look at it, it's going to be less than minimum wage. Because when you put all that time in, especially if you're coaching.
Yes.
And I coach minor sports. You lose money on coaching. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
You leave at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. You don't get home till after 9, especially with one swimming pool in the area.
Right.
But I wouldn't trade that profession. It is the world's greatest second profession.
Yep.
And I say that because I love being a Marine pilot.
Absolutely. And, and one of the things that talking about buses and all that is, like he was talking about with sports and everything, our coaches also have, some of them have to get their CDLs and everything to be able to drive those buses.
You need it. You need the CDL.
And seeing and riding in high school, got to ride on the bus with some of these great coaches and everything. It takes a very special person, a dedicated person, That is why these people are so special, and we have to hold them up on a pedestal. Think of all that they do for our youth, guys. Seriously, just think about it.
And we have to pay them.
Yes.
My,
oh my goodness.
my
yes.
opponent is talking about teacher salaries. He was chair of the board when they turned down the pay raise for the teachers. And that's when they had I won't say about how many because I have not seen it in writing,
Right.
but they had several $1 million left over. What happened to that money? Why not give it to the teachers? Why not pay the bus drivers more?
Right.
I mean, these poor guys, from what I heard, some of the policies that they have, I think is ridiculous,
It
and there's
is.
no reason for it.
It is. And you wonder why we have such a shortage. A lot of it has to do with pay, and to their credit, STA is trying to better the pay, better the environment, everything. But the thing is they're still behind the 8 ball.
You're right. Day late, dollar short. They should have done it before. It should
Yep.
be foresight, not
Absolutely.
hindsight.
But it seems the good news is attention is on it. A lot of folks are now starting to, I guess, notice it would be the right word. But
Hey,
until-
this is our future.
Yeah,
Okay, you have to get them to school safely. You have to have a good academic program and get them back home safely.
and it starts with who? The bus
Right there.
drivers.
And you guys.
Yep. And what got me is when I was a kid growing up in school, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid growing up in school, I was a bus rider. When my mom would bring me to school, that was a special day right there. Heck, I got to, show up a little bit late. Mom was bringing me, so that was awesome. But other than that, I had to be riding the bus. Now, everywhere you look, all over Santa Rosa County and Northwest Florida for that matter, most kids it seems are riding are drop-offs. But go ahead.
No, the other day I was going home. I forgot when we were up here for something. And I was heading home, came across a 3-mile bridge. The traffic was already backed up prior to CVS waiting to pick up. And I had to make a right turn. Now try to get through that mess. And I'm going, what is going on? And I realized it's parents picking up their kids.
Yep.
Now he was talking about it. Escambia has a different policy. They have things called sidewalks. Milton may have sidewalks. Gulf Breeze proper has sidewalks.
Right.
But the rest of these people like out here, forget about it.
No.
In New York City, we walked, or they had to deal with the public transportation system. So that's when it was okay and wasn't as dangerous. You had a pass so you could use the bus or the subway to go to school. You paid like $14 at the beginning of the year. For you guys out there that don't know what a buck is, that's $1.
It's $14.
So, now one of the parents that was outside, and again, I hope you're listening, please call me. She was there with her husband. She says, we were in another state where we had similar problems with the buses, and especially now with the cost of the fuel and everything else.
Right.
They said they asked all the parents if they could contribute, I forgot it was 100 or 150 for the whole year. Well, folks, if you drive your kids to school, you're going to spend more than that in a month with the way price of gas is going and going up.
Yep.
And if you got an electric vehicle, then you're going to be on the side of the road. That's another story. Don't plug it in.
Oh, man.
I know. So that's another option. I don't know what the policy is. Again, I'm the outsider going in. I've taught in the school system for 22 years and coached. Again, I don't know what the policy is. I drove a bus for quite a while, again, for my cadets and my swimmers and stuff and weightlifters. In fact, we drove a cheese all the way down to Frostproof, Florida.
Oh, cheese wagon. Yes, sir.
I couldn't get out of its own way.
Oh, man. Well, and that's why I love talking with our school board candidates and everything, because I've got to know a lot of the bus drivers and the administration for STA as well, and they mean well. They really do. They want what's best for our citizens and for our students. But when you look at everything, you look at the map, you look at everything. We are a big county. I don't know if you guys realize it, but Santa Rosa County is a big county, okay? And when you break it down into sections, we literally do not have the drivers. And let me tell you, it's not as simple as hiring somebody and sticking them in a bus. No, absolutely not. These bus drivers have a long process before they can start driving your kids. They have to they have to do a lot of paperwork. They have to do a lot of learning. Then they have to get their CDL learning permit. And
you got to get, I think it's 109 hours of driving. At least I think that's what I had to go through. 109 hours of driving, picking up students and everything before you can get certified
actually
to
test.
drive.
Yes, and then
That's
then you take an actual test, and
Again.
then you can actually start picking up kids. So it's not an easy process at all. And most of the folks that they are hiring, they don't have CDLs. Okay, so I'm going to put this out there right now. I'm sorry, I got to put this out there, but if you have a CDL and you don't have anything else to do right now, you're sitting at home, you're retired or whatever, I am asking you, I am begging you, please go apply. They will probably hire you on the spot if you have a CDL to drive these kids to school. That is how desperate STA is. I believe it's STA.
Yes.
They are for drivers, and if you don't have a CDL, they would be glad to teach you. They have some great trainers. Trust me on that.
Yeah. Well, most people do not have a CDL.
Right.
And so it's part of the process. When you apply, you go through their training.
Yep. And like I said, they have some amazing teachers. I know a couple of them. One of them, she taught at Santa Rosa for years, and she recently this school year she moved to Bruton, and so they lost a great one, but they have some amazing teachers. So if you're looking for some extra income, you're looking to help out the community, whatever it may be, go up there, talk to them, see what they have to offer. And like I said, guys, they are giving you sign-on bonuses. So it is an awesome opportunity for you to help not only yourself and your kids out, but your community. And that's a big thing. But anyway, enough with the buses. One of the candidates that ran in that race was Greg Seltzer.
Yes.
Okay. Greg is not going to be in the runoff between you and Scott Peden, correct? So that leaves what, 7,000 votes right there? I believe it was.
22. He got 22%. It was 7,900 and something, I think.
7,000 something votes right there, and I think you beat Scott by what, 1,100 or something?
1,200.
1,200 something votes. What do you want to say to those guys right there that voted for Scott Peden? Why should they vote for you over your opponent?
And Seltzer. Well, you want somebody that'll fight for you guys? You know, I have a pretty much proven track record on that. You look at Peden's record, I hate saying anything, he's a very nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's not a fighter, okay? I don't sit back and wait for things to happen. I've never been able to do that. Back in the Marine Corps, they always said you have a tendency to walk to the tune of a different drummer.
Right.
I took it as a compliment.
Absolutely.
But back when I retired, I got a dirty look from my wife. But the general told her, I hate to lose Pete because I asked him a question. A lot of times it's not what I want to hear, but I know it's a well-researched and valid response.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So the other thing that appalls me on my opponent is the Munson property. Okay, now this is, they had the 5-year plan,
Now, hang on. What was the break down the 5-year plan? What was the 5-year plan you're talking about? If you don't mind.
It's I don't know a lot. It's just the amount of movement that was projected to go up in that area.
Okay.
So
Just want to make it clear for
okay.
folks
They
who
knew they
may
were
not.
going to have all sorts of people coming up, coming up in the area.
Right.
They were spending $10,000. I don't know why they closed the school down. They were spending $10,000 a year to maintain the buildings.
Right.
Okay, that's a lot of money. All right, and all of a sudden they decide to sell 40 acres in the middle of the Blackwater Forest for $125,000 and 1 penny. Why? With no bid. It was advertised on the Gazette Press, or Press Gazette.
Press Gazette.
I mean, so if you don't want to get any attention, that's who you advertise with, I guess, is what I've been told by everybody. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know what the Press Gazette is.
Well, they've recently been sold, but yeah.
And then and it was sold to the WAC, and tracked down the LLC was a post office box in 98 in Gulf Breeze, which led to a post office box in Central Florida. I was trying to find out who bought it, what happened. And a month and a half later, it was sold to Chachi LLC, was another post office box in Milton.
Wow.
That led to another post office box in Central Florida. So
Wow.
I don't know much about that. But the property was appraised at over 1.43 mil, and a year later it was 1.7 something mil. Just the trees alone, when they cut the trees down, they got more than $1 million. So I know he talks about fiscal responsibilities ready to take on the budget. Hey, with a track record like that, I wish he worked for me. Because just like Tommy said, hey, if we would have known that land was for sale, I mean, who wouldn't pick up 40 acres for $125,000?
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense. But anyway, I'll
And I know a couple folks that was interested in that property when it went on the market, and they would have paid well over what it sold.
Yeah.
I recently talked to a gentleman, and he was furious with it because I think he said it was his brother or his cousin had
His brother.
made a payment, made an offer or whatever, and no, but yet they sell it right underneath them for way less.
But why even? I'm not even worried about the price. Why sell something that right now they're going to have to build up a school in that area? How much is it going to cost them? Why sell?
Well,
we kind of beat that one.
Well, and the thing is where I live right outside of Blackwater Forest. And I can tell you right now from personal experience going up and down Munson Highway, there are homes going in constantly. So they are, sooner than later, they are going to need another school. Guess where? Right up there.
Yeah.
And they had one.
Well, they were busing those kids. They don't have buses, and now they have to bus them all the way down, wherever they're busing. Most of the parents there will know from up in that area.
Yep.
So I don't know. The logic behind that, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, when it comes to the November election, I want to know between you and Scott, straight up, what makes you the better candidate? Why, if I'm going to the voter box,
Okay.
I've got Pete Peters and Scott Pete right here. Why am I going to vote for you over Scott?
Okay, the experience I had as a military attaché, I know they're talking about $400 million contracts. I've dealt with a lot bigger contracts than that. One of them was say again? Oh, speak up. One of them was over $600 million. That's just one contract. Was exploding to $120 million within 3 years. And that had to do with the NATO frigate program for the Rolls-Royce engines replaced by the GE engines. I've worked on a lot of other munition contracts. The other one is a lot of the bidding processes and contracts. I did not know that at the time. People do not realize how much money our military puts in these foreign countries.
Yeah.
My first ship visit, talk about getting thrown in the deep water real quick, was a carrier. And they come up and say, hey, you got a big boy coming in. I go, what's a big boy? That's a carrier. Okay, what do I got to do with that? No, you're responsible for everything.
Oh, wow.
The millions of dollars. I'll give you an example, just the smallest one. I get a call, bad connection,
No, you're good. We're still recording.
but I get a call the night before saying, we need $1 million in small bills. You do what? So thank God I had a good
Sure.
husband reagent.
$1 billion?
$1 million.
$1 million. Okay.
I'm just trying to show people an example how much money
Right,
goes
I got
into
you.
these. They all hate us, but boy, they love the American dollar. And so I called him up. I go, hey, how do I get $1 million to these guys? He goes, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. I was waiting. Why we haven't heard anything? So he took care of that. 2 days later, literally, they called me at night. They woke me up and said, we need another $1 million. Small bills. I go, you got to be vouching me. Hey, I'm trying to be politically correct.
Bravo.
I said, you guys are kidding, right? No. That's the money that they exchange on board ship. You get a better exchange rate than you do out in town. Now, most of the money that these kids spend is their American dollars that they spend out in town because they get a much better deal. Seriously, about a day and a half later, I get a call, said, don't tell me you want another $1 million. No, $500,000 will do. I said, you got to be kidding me. So that was my indoctrination to how much money. Now, the SHIT or the SHT barge, that's a lot of money. People do not realize how much poop a carrier puts out.
Right.
I mean, that's a full barge, and you know that's
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah.
The water barge, the produce, the money we
Wow.
spent. I signed those crazy things. They're all competitive bids. And you have to go out and get the bid. And then you have to explain it. And I'll tell you, you talk about getting in trouble in the military. You give somebody a bid, especially a no-bid contract or something, oh boy, you're going to wind up in Leavenworth. Anybody out there that's had a bill, like an attaché billet or dealt with, military purchasing, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Please, tell these people I'm not nuts. Well, maybe I am, but
in a good way, though. So, oh man,
and the other thing is security.
that was our next.
Yeah, I've been involved with counterterrorism. I work for SAIC out of LSU's Academy of Counterterrorism Education. I was an auxiliary police officer. I'm still an FDLE firearms instructor. I'm an NRA instructor, a civilian marksmanship master coach, and that was part of my community service. So, I have a lot of experience in a lot of different fields that I think I can bring to the table.
Right.
So
Now, how would you take that military training and convert it over to the school board? How would you better use that? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think of the right way to.
I'm trying to think of how to answer that too, and that's a hard one because you develop certain leadership skills in the military. You're given a lot of responsibility real quick. I signed for multi-million-dollar aircraft
Right.
that had weapon systems on them. I was trusted with that. You don't want to say oops with something like that. A lot
Yeah.
of things go wrong.
Yeah. Seriously.
Beside that, I was an airline pilot, so I had to make some difficult decisions. I quit the airlines to be home. Same thing in the military. I've made some, life and death decisions. So I'm not afraid to make decisions, and I'm not afraid to stand up to the status quo.
Now, on the school board, when it comes to Oh man! Sorry, I'm trying to think of the right way to say this without upsetting anyone. Our superintendent of schools. A lot of folks like this young lady. A lot of folks don't like her. How do you see you getting along with her?
You know, all the jobs I've had, I seem to be able to get along with people. I don't know. It's not that I compromise, but I think people know where I stand. I retired as the IG with the Marine Reserve, so I handle a lot of congressional investigations. I had to deal with a lot of the congressmen. Well, I got the experience too as an attaché with some of those characters. Tell you what I think about them, but anyway. But I've never really had trouble with that many people. There's certain people I put my foot down, and okay, my wife's kibitzing me in the background. I met Dr. Barbara. We didn't talk much. I've heard pros and cons.
All right.
I don't see anything wrong.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. You know, I'm looking forward to working with her and the rest of the board. And I think everybody knows where I stand on the issues. And there's no way I'm going to, compromise on certain issues. We're a constitutional republic. We need to educate our future generation. They have to be aware of what's going on. And
Yes.
The other thing I'd like to see is, along with the academic training, we need to increase the vocational training.
I agree. And one of the things that I want to point out is there were 3 candidates that was running in this election. You, Elizabeth, sweet lady, awesome lady, and Wayne. And we was able to possibly, we'll find out in November if we got one of the 3 who have been actively out there in front of the folks, making their message known that they are fighting not for themselves, but are fighting for you. And we need more of that right there. More of those who are not scared to deal with these teachers unions and all that garbage right there. They are looking out for you, the citizens of Santa Rosa County in Northwest Florida. And I can honestly say, after getting to know Pete, talking to him a lot, this man is sincere. He means what he says. And if he tells you he's going to do something, then damn it, he's going to do it.
I want to try my best. Well, you mentioned teachers union. The other thing is, I have the endorsement of the Santa Rosa Professional Educators. Now, what's interesting, when I went there, everybody says, you do not want to go there, it's a teachers union. You're stepping into a hornet's nest. I said, it's okay. I don't mind stepping in a hornet's nest. So I went in there, and they started asking me all these pointed questions. Here's where my personality kind of comes to. I said, you guys, wait a minute. Before you waste any more of your time, you waste my time. Here's where I stand. Here's what I, believe in. Here's where I stand. I don't like the NEA. I'm against the NEA. And here's why. And I figured they're going to go, hey, buddy, there's the door. And I got a couple of smiles. And some of the teachers, I hope they're watching this. I'm getting smiles out of this group. What gives you? I said, we're members, we're affiliated with the union that you said you were a member of when you were in the school, the Association of American Educators out of California. Believe it or not, a very conservative union out of California. So I said, hey, okay, I'm in good company then.
Right. Now, I got to ask, one of the big things that we see all over national news, a lot of folks that don't follow local stuff, but they'll check in on the national stuff, is they hear maybe on the Fox Newses or whatever conservative news networks that school boards are going after parents. Where are you at when it comes to that right there? I believe I know where this gentleman's about to say what he's about to say, but I want him to tell you,
Not no,
so you guys know.
but hell no. Okay, now we've been fortunate, and guys, don't sit back on your laurels, especially come 2024. Okay, our governor, thank God, made it very clear, no CRT. That doesn't mean we don't have to be vigilant. Biden administration is pumping billions to push CRT. Don't ask me why. That's not my problem.
Right.
But that's you guys' problem, or in a way, and we have to make sure that does not come to Florida. They're pushing a lot to try to get rid of DeSantis. If he leaves, well, bets are off. We don't know what's going to happen. So please, we started with the 26%. You guys have to get out and vote.
Yes.
Otherwise, don't complain if we become a third world nation.
And that's one of the big things right there. Do you see now, since you've been running, do you see anything across the state that concerns you that may be coming our way that we should be vigilant about or on the lookout for?
I know some of the districts in South Florida are trying to go against the governor. I forgot what district it was, but we have a lot of people that are fighting it. And from what I've gathered, a lot of the school boards have turned. I get confused on the colors, red, blue. I mean, I'm after Biden standing with that red backdrop with his fists up like
man.
Hitler.
Wow, that was something else.
Yeah, that was something else, all right.
Yeah.
So
the
I don't know.
Marines right there with him.
But a lot of the parents have taken over the school systems, they've taken over the school boards, and that's what needs to happen.
And I agree 100% with you. When I started seeing the whole Merrick Garland and all that going after parents for protecting their kids, doing what they're supposed to do, standing up and defending their children, and you're going to go after those parents right there because they had the nerve to speak up. No, I absolutely not. I have a major problem with that, and I'm sure you do as well. It is ridiculous right there, and that's why we need people like this gentleman right here that aren't afraid for a fight, because I fear that you guys are going to have one hell of a fight before too long. And we need people that aren't afraid to fight and stand up for our county and our citizens and our students.
Okay, a couple of weeks I'm going to be 75. I'm not doing this. I don't have any political aspirations, believe me. I have no desire. But I'm doing it for the parents, the cadets, some of the church groups that have contacted me. And thank God we have some of the churches that are not afraid to stand up
Right.
and say, enough is enough. And again, remember, if it wasn't for the black robes during the American Revolution preaching artillery and election, we wouldn't have a country right now.
You're right. You're absolutely correct. Well, Pete, as we get ready to end this out,
Hope I answered all your questions.
yeah, you did a great job. I'm just trying to think of anything that we may not have hit on or covered. If there's anything you would like to say.
Title IX. Title IX.
What about Title IX?
And transgender, I've heard there's girls using boys' bathrooms. I think that needs to stop. If you don't like the sex you were born, next time do a better job of picking your parents. I'm sorry. There's only two genders. Okay, biologically there's two. It's not what's in your mind that determines who you are. Okay, and it's not fair. I'm the one that pushed for girls weightlifting when I was a state rep for weightlifting. I had a lot of opposition because everybody started screaming Title IX, Title IX. If we do that, that means that's Tallahassee. If we do that, that means we have to have another boy sport. Otherwise, I'm going, wait a minute. You're talking Title IX, which is what? I said, why don't we just do this? Let's put it up for a vote. And some of the coaches, called me up and said, hey, Pete, come on. we got enough girls they'd like to compete. I said, okay, we'll bring it up. I didn't think I'd run that trouble at Tallahassee.
Yeah.
But I don't care what they want to do. I'm not going to say, hey, you can start your own. No. Here's the thing. You're a male. I don't care if you cut it off, lop it off, glue it on. You have, as a male, you have certain advantages. And
Testosterone.
you got denser bone, denser muscles. They did an analogy, they talk about Serena Williams. And if she competed against males, she wouldn't stand a chance.
High school kids, high school
Yeah.
males, she would lose to high school males.
Yeah, you
And
saw that
if
same
you,
thing.
If you think I'm just saying
No,
this,
he's
look
right.
it up. She would lose to high school males, and she even acknowledged that. I
Yes,
believe.
she did.
She even said that she couldn't compete with those kids. And these are high school kids, not pro athletes, guys. And you want to compete, you want to put regular boys and girls in this. Come on now, really?
I hope some of my swimmers are listening. I'm getting a cut from my wife. Oh, I wish some of my swimmers were listening on this, because we had a lot of girl swimmers. And if somebody came in and said, I'm a female today, I'm swimming against the girls, I would have pulled all my girls out. And I know Mike Haas would have backed me. He would have pulled them out too. I would have said, all you guys right here, you are now ladies. You're swimming against this sucker. My guys would have jumped on opportunity.
You would have won some state championships, huh?
No, I wouldn't let my girls swim against
Right.
them.
Oh,
I
well,
said no.
I'm just.
And I'm not blaming the transgender swimmers.
Right.
I'm blaming the coaches for not standing up for their
Absolutely.
swimmers, their kids, their athletes, their lifters, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
Now, come on. All you have to do is look at girls weightlifting. And you tell me there's no difference. So you get some slob that can't win anything, and all of a sudden he competes against, I'm a girl today.
Yeah. What was
So he gets medal. Give me a break.
the guy in college that said all of a sudden set a lot of swimming world records and
What's
for a
that
female.
Weirdo's name?
I forget his name, but he
Thomas.
Oh, Leah Thomas.
Leah Thomas. Yep.
Thomas.
She had finished like last, all kind of horrible records as a male. Then all of a sudden she swam as a female and was setting records.
Well, here's the other thing. How about the girls' safety? I mean, you
Yeah.
got some weirdo in the locker room with the girls. Come on, give me a break. And in one of the debates, I turned around and I said, how many of you guys want a guy going into your girls' locker room? Boy, you should have heard the response. In fact, that was your thing.
Yep.
You should have seen the response on that mess. No. I'm a grandparent now. There is no way in hell I would allow that.
Absolutely not.
And I would not allow with your kids either. If I was on the board and found out something like that, I don't care how I do it, there would be a stop to it. Now, I may get arrested, but there will be a stop to it.
You're gonna put your money where your mouth is, basically. You're not afraid to stand up for what you
I'm
believe
putting my
in.
morals where my mouth
Yeah,
is.
there you go, right there. You're not afraid to stand up for what you believe in, and that's a very rare thing we
Well,
have.
hopefully I'll have enough backing from the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the other thing is beefing up security. I mean, with
I
these
was
open
about to hit on
borders,
that. Yep.
yeah, with these open borders and everything coming in, you don't know what you're getting.
Yep.
We need to enforce it. I know we have RSOs, and we cannot afford to get rid of the RSOs.
SROs. He always get them. That one messed
Oh,
up. School resource officers, SROs.
I know. I'm going back to my embassy days, regional security officer, and doing with terrorism. It's okay.
Oh, you good, buddy? You good?
Yeah, the RSOs. We definitely need them. But when the poop hits the fan, one guy is not enough. He
Yep.
needs something else.
When I have a buddy of mine, who is a resource officer, and I talked to him, and I asked him, I said, you do a great job, of course, but if you could have additional help, trained help, how would you feel? And his exact answer was, I would love
Yep.
as much help as I can get. Right there. So there is your answer. That came directly from a sheriff's deputy, a resource officer at one of your local schools, guys.
Yep.
So, and there's no reason why we can't do that. We are blessed to live in such an area with a lot of ex-military, ex-law enforcement, ex-corrections that have the training and have the wherewithal to do this.
Well, here's one of the comments I got from, well, we don't want civilians carrying guns. Excuse me, I'm a Marine pilot. I was an airline pilot. I'm nothing but a stupid civilian with a little bit of training. Okay? The only reason I was thinking of flying for the highway patrol, and then that's what got me into the auxiliary. Okay? I'm an FDLE firearms instructor. What am I? I'm a civilian with a little bit of training.
Right.
So when I hear this, we don't want civilians. What are you, born professional military? You born professional law enforcement? You born professional firefighter? No. You get some training and you get the job, and the job gets done.
Yep. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's about your kids' safety.
Yep.
Getting them to school, getting them in school and home, safe and sound. And whatever it takes to do that job right there, we must be willing to do. Pete, once again, my friend, it has been an absolute honor and
thank
a
you very
privilege
much.
to sit down with you and have a great conversation. Is there anything else you would like to hit on before
I
we
would
head
like
out?
to thank everybody out there that voted, because if it wasn't for you guys voting, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. So what I'm saying now is, please spread the name out, get it to your neighbors, get it to your friends. You know, I need all the support. I'm an unknown in Santa Rosa. Remember, I taught at Escambia County. So I need your help, folks. If you like what you hear, please get the word out.
Yes.
Let's get people out to vote.
Pete.
And remember, Pete Peters. I've had enough people come out and say, well, we got confused between Peden and Peters. I said, how do you forget Pete Peters? Come on. Second on the list, first for school board.
Pete Peters,
Pete
guys.
Peters. I'll be second on the list, but first choice for school board. How's that sound?
We're going to put everything up there for you guys so you cannot make the mistake. If you want to vote for this gentleman right here, everything you need and is going to be up there for you. Also, same thing we done in the last
I
interview.
just realized what I was wearing. Think.
Yeah. Same thing we done last time. We're going to put his phone number up there. And still, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, give this man a call. He is not afraid to answer your questions. Not one bit.
Now, it's interesting. You put the phone up. A lot of the people that called me concerned about the bus routes, thanks to you and putting the phone number up there.
Exactly. You know, that's potential voters right there. Exactly.
Correct.
So, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, what's your phone number?
850-932-9042. And please ignore the answering machine. I haven't changed it in years. It's so when people called our daughters up, it was like, I ain't calling this guy again. I didn't think it was that bad.
It's real, in other words. So give him a call, guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, give Pete a call. Or on Facebook, Pete
Please,
Peters.
that's the easiest one.
What is it? Pete Peters for Centers County.
Let me pull my ventriloquist act.
Yeah, let's do
Pete
that.
Peters, candidate for
Pete
Santa Rosa School Board.
Pete
District
Peters,
5.
candidate for Santa Rosa School Board, District 5. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go there and
Hey,
send
don't
them a
just say
message.
District 5, because remember, you guys vote at large.
Yeah.
So you get to vote all over the county.
Yep. Exactly. So, guys, I will put all his contact information up there for you guys to get a hold of this gentleman. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I guarantee you he will answer anything you have. He's been there from day one all the way up to the end. Pete, it has been an honor and privilege, my friend.
Thank you.
Anyways, guys, I'm Tommy Nichols, Blue Collar Voice, with Pete Peters.
And I'm Pete Peters.
Toodles.
Take care, guys. Godspeed.
Hey, it's Stan Nichols. Be sure to check out Blue Collar Boys.
Hey, I'm Dave Peach, County Commissioner, District 4. Want you to check out the Blue Collar Voice and Tommy Nichols.
Hey everyone, Matt Gates here with my man Tommy Nichols. Check out Blue Collar Voice.
Toodles.